Training Tess to get her bed. What I've got to be careful of is as I come back to her, I'm not coming back going, no, Tess, you stay on your bed. Because then what she learns is I step off the bed, he comes back, gives me attention. Bed. Hi, my name's Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to Mordor Gun Dogs. We just brought little Tess in here to follow up with some of the conversations we've been having on some of the videos and Instagram about our dogs hanging out in the office quite a lot and getting them to go to their bed. So Tess has never been in here before. She's been in Dan's house, but she's been in the office. She's never been in here. So we're just going to teach her to, or start to teach her to go onto her nice green, or not her, but our nice green Ivy and Duke bed lying on the floor here. The first thing is she's not in the house a lot, so I would bring her in always on a lead, okay? Because what I don't want is her coming in going, oh, look at that, and she's all everywhere, and there's a sausage on the side, and there's all sorts of things going on. I had a, fairly standard answer when people ask me a question when they say, oh, how do I stop my dog doing this, that, the other? I say, don't let them do it in the first place. So when I bring a dog into the house for the first time, rather than just letting them tear around, unless they're really nervous and shy, and I want to let them have a bit of a good time. But if I'm coming in with a job to do, like going onto her bed, I'm coming in, I've got her under control, I've got her calm. She's sort of, because she's on a lead, she's kind of geared up, ready for training. Whereas if she just came in the door, she'd probably have a shoe in her mouth and she'd be running around the kitchen, which is all fine, but it's not the purpose of the day, okay? Kids don't go into the classroom and tear around, throw paper airplanes, and then the teacher wonders why it takes 10 minutes to get them to settle down to actually learn their maths or whatever. They've got to go in calmly, sit down, get their pens out. That's just the routine to get them into the mindset. Dogs just exactly the same. So Tess, here. So you can see even just initially, she's actually avoiding stepping onto the bed because it's a texture she doesn't know. She's not been on this bed before. Come on, Tess. Come on. You come. Good girl. So we might even just have to lift her on. Sit. Might even just have to lift her on. And then we would just sit here with her, okay? Just making this a nice place to be. We don't want her kind of, so it's a horrible wet day outside, so she's coming absolutely rank. We don't want to kind of put her in her bed and then walk away. We want her to be like, oh, I like being in the bed. Look, I roll on my back and he gives me some tummy tickles, and isn't that nice? Just a nice place to be. So I'm not coming straight in saying, go to your bed and then walking off. I'm coming in and saying, come to the bed with me, hang out with me, enjoy being on the bed, and then over a period of time, I slowly remove myself and leave her there. But initially, because what she didn't want to do was get onto the bed, initially what I'm going to do is just say, come on then, get her off the bed, walk just literally a couple of meters away, Tess, and then back onto the bed. And as she goes onto the bed, I'm saying bed repeatedly. Just in the same way I might say sit, I'm just saying bed, just dropping her lead, bed. So I've gone very quickly from sitting with her to just sitting with her to leaning over the top of her. So I'm very much still in the bed, but I'm not in the bed. I'm just every so often just bed. Now, I don't want her to come out. I don't want to have a battle with her and have to put her back in again. So by bringing her, by just moving back a step or two, going back again, bed. So what I'm doing is I'm rewarding her for staying there by coming back to her and praising her. I'm showing her I'm going to come back to her. I'm not saying, what a good girl you are, Tess, from over here, because that's what's going to happen. I go, what a good girl, she's going to come to me. I come back and I praise her, and as per previous videos, talk to the dog in the way you want the dog to behave. If I want the dog to run around, I'll be like, woo, let's run. If I want the dog to be calm, I'll talk to them in a calm, sensible way. Bed. Now you can see her head's a little bit low. She's a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about this. And she's doing a great job. And the reason she's doing a great job is because she's learned how to sit and stay. So to her, this is just a sort of different variety of sit and stay. Bed. You can see she's looking a little bit worried. So I'm just constantly going back to her. What I don't want to do, heel. What I don't want to do is leave her there too long that she goes, oh, and she leaves, and then it all becomes a bit of a kind of like, oh, she bolted off the bed, I've got to put her back. She doesn't want to go back because she was worried about being on there and she mustered up the courage to leave. I don't want to be forcing her to stay on there because I want the bed to be a nice place. I want it to be somewhere she wants to go to. So it's just kind of gently building it up. Now, I think people expect like to come in, I think like everything with dog training, they expect us to come in and like just get it to work like that. It's just not going to do that. That's just not how dog training, it's not how life works in general, as far as I've found out. But it's not how dog training works, okay? So what we would do is we would spend a bit of time just getting her to sit on a bed when we're focused and we're there. If I'm now going to go over here and make a cup of tea, I'm not going to get her to stay on a bed. I'm going to just allow her just to hang around. Good girl. I'm allow her just to hang around with me, okay? And then I come over and I just go through the sort of the motions of making a cup of tea, let her just be in the kitchen. Now she's paying attention to me. I'm still in control in as much as if she decides to jump up at the kitchen counter and try and eat a sausage or something, I'm still there. I'm ready to deal with it. I'm not leaving the room, but I'm just allowing her just to be a sort of dog in and around the kitchen. Now she's following me around because she's just a good little dog and she's been trained to follow me around. But over time, in over a few days or so, if she was in the house permanently with me, she would start to relax. She wouldn't follow me around so much, and she'd start to kind of, because she was getting used to being put on the bed repeatedly, she'd start to just go there on her own. So I'm now just going to go back to the bed. Now I'm going to see if she wants to go on without the lead. Tess. Good girl. Bed. I would encourage her just to lie down. Bed. I'm using my body language by pushing back towards her. As soon as she comes off, just that little bit of body language. Bed. What I've got to be careful of is as I come back to her, I'm not coming back going, no, Tess, you stay on your bed. Because then what she learns is I step off the bed, he comes back, gives me attention. Bed. Just pushing her back. So because I'm putting her back, I'm being a little bit more abrupt with her. Bed. Because I don't want her thinking creeping out, because as much as she looks very sweet and cute when she's creeping out, I don't want her thinking that that's kind of the way to do it. Just then I thought she just lowered her head as if to put her foot forward. So there we go, there's the foot. I just came back into position to prevent that happen. So again, another one of my regular comments is prevention's better than cure. Okay, I'm coming back here, I'm preventing her getting off the bed rather than curing her having left the bed already. Bed. And then just making her enjoy it as a nice place to be. And you can see you could see if we did this for a few times today, a few times tomorrow, she's very quickly going to get quite happy, quite accustomed to just lying here quietly on her bed. What a good girl. Heel. Now I'm releasing her from her bed, okay? Because I want her to understand the time that she comes off her bed is because I've said you can come off your bed. Because going to a bed, a dog going to a bed is essentially a little bit like saying sit and stay. They have to go to their bed and they have to stay there. And I want to be at the stage where she's like Sausage and Beaver and all the other house dogs, where she just stays on there and we're coming and going and she's not moving. So I've allowed her to come off the bed, but I've told her to come off the bed. I've said heel. It's an active kind of one command is only allowed to be stopped because the next command is given. If we say heel to a dog, we want them to eventually stay at heel until they're told to do something else. If we tell a dog to sit, we want them to stay at sit until they're told to do something else. If we tell them to go to the bed, we want them to stay in their bed until they're told to do something else. It's kind of one command can only be superseded by another command, not by the dog just deciding, whatever, I'm going off to do something else. So I'm just because she's in the house, it's a new thing, I'm just going to move the dishwasher door, open the fridge, clank some bottles, make some noise that she potentially hasn't really heard before. Just going through these kind of like, I'm making extra noise. I'm doing things louder than I might normally do because I want her to be used to it. You know, people talk about knocking pots and pans together when they've got puppies and things, and we absolutely do that in the puppy kennel. We've got sort of pots and pans that we knock around, but I might even just be a bit over it, like do things that would piss my wife off, just chucking stuff around, being like a bit like, you know, making some noise that's just random to the dog, okay? But it's things that are going to happen in her world. So we'll do one more. Tess. Bed. And I'm introducing that word bed when she's going onto her bed or where she's onto the bed. I'm not standing 6 feet away going, bed, Tess, go to bed, bed, Tess, go to bed, bed, Tess, go to bed. Because she's just going to go, what the hell are you talking about now? Bed. Bed. If I was extending this, as we ask Joe and the others in the office to do when they're looking after something, you know, because what my team will do is they'll come into the office with a dog like Tess, they'll pop her on the bed, they'll spend 10 minutes doing exactly what I've just done, and then they'll leave. And they'll leave the dog in the office. And then it becomes Joe or Fiona or Megan's job to make sure that dog stays roughly on the bed and doesn't start sort of getting up to mischief in the office. But the same thing could be achieved, and that's just us being efficient with our time, because the guys are in the office anyway, so they may as well watch a dog, and the trainers can go back out and train more dogs. But might be something I could just be here on my laptop, sit down over there, I could do some emails, make some phone calls, but I'm very much kind of, my corner of my eye is always going to be on Tess until I've got this dog who is going to the bed on her own accord and lying there for extended periods of time on her own accord, like we have a dog next door who's doing exactly that. But we've got a few weeks or certainly a number of days to train her to do that before we can consider her reliable at going to her bed. And you can see probably one of the main reasons with Tess for leaving the bed is because she's a bit needy and she wants to come and hang out with me. She just wants to be next to me or Dan, preferably. I think Dan is the real love of her life at the moment. But you can see she's trying to put a paw up. She just wants to be next to me. She's following me around the kitchen, and that's all fine. Wouldn't you rather have a dog that followed around the kitchen, stood at your feet, got on the way, than a dog that buggered off across the field and it was like, where's your dog? Oh, it's like 200 yards away. Where's your dog? Oh, it's always under my bloody feet. Oh, get the violin out. Poor you. You've got a dog that's always under your feet. Oh, I feel really sorry for you, because what you've got is what everybody else whose dog buggers off all the time wants. What you don't want is a dog that's under your feet and then as soon as you open the door, they're off. So we want to make sure, that's where we're lucky with a nice dog like Tess, is she's always wanting to be with you. Remember, you get out what you put in. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.